Welcome to
Open Your Mouth and Speak.
I'm co-host Monica DeJesus, survivor and motivator.
And I'm co-host Holly, and we're encouraging others to heal with the help of God through His grace and mercy.
You're tuning in to womeninspirationalradio.org. Today's topic is domestic violence.
All right, and to begin, we'll open up with the scripture, Psalms 9:9-10. The Lord is a refuge for the oppressed, a stronghold in times of trouble. Those who know your name trust in you, for you, Lord, have never forsaken those who seek you. Amen.
Amen.
All right. And a couple of facts that we're going to give you about domestic violence is domestic violence is a violent crime or abuse in a domestic setting, such as in cohabitation or marriage. Domestic violence is often used as a synonym for intimate partner violence, which involves a spouse or intimate partner in an intimate partner relationship. The abuser often believes that the abuse is an entitlement, acceptable, justified, or unlikely to be reported. Victims often feel trapped by the abuser in domestic violence situations through isolation by their abuser from family and friends, lack of finances, fear, shame, cultural acceptance, and power and control. Victims can develop physical disabilities and chronic health problems as well as severe psychological disorders. In the United States, an estimated 10 million people experience domestic violence every year. According to the National Coalition Against Domestic Violence, about 20 people per minute are usually physically abused by an intimate partner. About 1 in 4 women and 1 in 9 men experience severe intimate partner physical violence, sexual violence, and or partner stalking with injury, PTSD, contraction of STDs, etc. All right, so today we have none other than our other co-host, Monica DeJesus, telling her testimony about her experience with domestic violence. How are you doing, Monica?
I'm doing well, thank you.
That's good. Today we're going to talk about your situation with my father, Tyree Roberts. How would you like to begin? What comes up whenever you think about the situation? I do remember you saying that all of it wasn't bad. Do you want to start with the good and then how it kind of transitions? And I don't know if it shocks you when it turns bad, but that state, because it's not always bad when it doesn't always start off as violence.
Right. So I was 19, almost 20 years old when I met the man that abused me. I would say that I was one of those children that grew up. My family sheltered, protected, and shielded us from a lot of things that was wrong in the world. Like, for instance, we were children that were raised in a Baptist church. And
you have both parents in the home?
Yes, my mom and my dad. They were married for over 40 years. But nevertheless, at the time, I was a teenager, preteen, and I had just left my mom and dad's house. To make a long story short, I feel like he stepped into my life at a time when I needed someone to help me because I was coming out of high school and going into the real world and jobs, and I was working for myself at the time when I met him, and things weren't going well. So when he came in, his take on life was, okay, well, both of us are at the bottom. So would you trust me for us to go to the top together?
And you said that you both were at the bottom, and he was how old when y'all first met?
He was 15 years my senior, so at the time, I didn't have a birthday yet. He was 35.
So 35 and you were 19?
Yes, almost 20.
And okay, so I was just making sure when you referenced you both were at the bottom. And an older man, coming to you who's 35, who had time to get out the bottom, is, trying to get a teenager who is just coming from life, from your foundational core values to learn how to get out. You know what I'm saying? By yourself.
Right. And I think it's important to say that at the time, I was one of those young ladies who everybody felt like had everything together. Like, I made the grades and I didn't misbehave in school. And, I didn't give my parents any problems at the time. So I was actually going through a transition. Well, let me go back.
Well,
I did have some other issues going on because I had another ex-boyfriend who was troubled. He was a foster home child, and I didn't understand that then neither because I just didn't know people like them existed. I was always around people who just kind of had it together.
Right.
So
and if
I
you're not
didn't know about
exposed to
that.
something, of course you're not, going to know about how other people live their lives. So like Black people who are in the hood, you're not going to know how suburban, Blacks live or other people. So of course.
And so what I mean by that is I wasn't exposed to people getting in trouble and breaking the law until I met my ex-boyfriend and the man at the time that abused me. So I feel like if I was more aware or had more knowledge, wisdom, and understanding about topics like that, if someone exposed me to what domestic violence and sexual abuse look like, maybe I would have made better choices.
Right. Right, and that's understandable. So in the beginning of the relationship, it was, hey, I want both of us to grow together. I want both of us to come up together. And tell me more about how he helped you come up, or what was the process of that?
Okay. Well, I remember that even like getting your finances together, I was working on a job where I was building my skills, so I wasn't getting paid a whole lot of money as a manicurist. I started out in a salon, and I had car issues because I couldn't pay for the insurance. So I had a lot of things going on at the time, just trying to survive and get on my feet as not only as a minor, but as an adult from coming out of high school. So it's a lot for me to learn that he helped me with. And another thing was he wanted me to trust him with my finances. And I was like,
Right.
So it wasn't something that I just gave to him. He built the trust with me. He built whatever he said he was going to do. He built that trust that he fulfilled what he said that he was going to do.
Would you like to give some examples of, in particular, what he helped you with, and then financially how that happened with transitioning into him? Because he had to build the trust. So what, if you don't mind giving some examples of what actually built the trust, and then if you remember that moment where the trust was established.
Well, let me go back with this. I felt like everyone thought I had it together as a young lady, but they didn't see that I was hurting inside and didn't really have good direction in which way to go with work, with my finances, and balancing everything out. I felt like I was left kind of alone. And I think that was because they felt like I had it together, but I really didn't. So when this man came into my life, it wasn't like a boyfriend type of thing, but it was more of him being a big brother to me because of the way he helped me. Like, for instance, used to give an example. He actually gave me some insight to the business that I was in, how to work with the customers, how to manage my finances. And he opened an account, helped me to save money, taught me how to pay bills, things like that. That was crucial. I didn't understand. He came in to help me, and everything that he taught me or told me, it came to pass. So he was building a relationship with me based on things that was actually helping me. Mm-hmm. And at the time, he never said any rude things to me. He never made it seem like I was, any less than him.
And y'all never talked about his past?
We did talk about his past at the beginning. And I just felt like, everybody deserved a chance, because he talked about being incarcerated. And he also said that he really didn't want to discuss the situation because I guess it was so hurtful to him. Mm-hmm. And I just respected it to think that, everyone deserves a second chance, and everyone shouldn't have the towel thrown or the brick thrown at them just because they made a mistake.
And he was giving you the impression that he was changing.
But you know what else? I also knew his mom and his sister. They were nail customers of mine, and we were pretty friendly with one another. So I based it off of them too, not thinking that he was any different than them.
Oh, so that's kind of a situation where you meet the family
first,
and then you like the family, but everybody's different. But because they come out the same family, you think that the same principles and
it does not always apply that way. So I wish that I had more insight about that as well.
Right.
Because that was one of the deciding factors that I was feeling okay to deal with him.
Well, that's definitely good to know, because like you said, people definitely will give you a facade for a while. And once you see progress, especially if you don't really have discernment, or, maybe you were praying, but sometimes God will allow you to go through things to learn things.
I believe.
So, moving on, after the trust was established and you transitioned into him helping you with your finances, When, from that point, when did the changes, internally begin with the abuse? Or was it mental first? Was it emotional? Like, what began or what started it?
Okay, so after we were about to get our first place, and he had his court date. It was a simple marijuana charge that he had to go to court for. He felt like he would beat the charges, and he probably would have if the judge didn't ask him to take a test. And he never smoked or drank in front of me. He just, I guess he wanted to play the good guy, because he knew I was one of those girls that loved the Lord and loved doing what is right.
Right,
So
you wanted to be on that path.
He came at me that way.
Right.
So I would say that he did study me well.
Mm-hmm.
And so when it happened,
that's actually a good point. Most predators,
they
regardless of domestic violence, sexual abuse, they will. And I feel like that's most people are very observant. But if anybody has an agenda, of course they're gonna, look more further than what's on the outside to try to get into someone's life. That's a good point to make.
He did definitely do that. And so I guess with everything happening, we were supposed to get our first place. So I guess it was supposed to be me learning more about him. But because he was incarcerated for a whole year behind that charge.
This was right before the place.
Yes. The same day that he was incarcerated, when they arrested him for that charge and took him to prison, was the same day I signed the lease. He had already prepared me of if it goes this way or if it goes the opposite way, what to do.
Wow, and that's even trust in itself, because he gave you two pathways for if this is the scenario, this is what you can do.
Yeah, he was
and
always
that's safe.
that pre-planner.
That's
like
safe.
He always had a plan A, a plan B, a plan C, a plan D. And it worked out to where I did have my place even though he wasn't there. And so I helped him while he was in prison. I thought he appreciated it, but later on it didn't mean anything to him, he said. But when the abuse first started was when he came back out of prison.
After you were in the place for a year?
Well, I would say while he was incarcerated, because at that time it was like, okay, we've been together for a year and I'm tired of playing with you. Now, either you step up and do the things that I need you to do, or either I'm going to put somebody else in your place.
Right.
And so that was the attitude, along with the religious side of things, because he was teaching me a lot about our culture and about Hebrewism.
Things you didn't learn from
things
family
I didn't
or
know
school.
that I felt later on was important.
Right.
When I met him, it was like, wow, a whole nother world of understanding. And it was that was one of the things that was true. But the way that he used it against me was not a good way that he did it, because he abused me with it.
So in a way, you were afraid to lose him.
I was, because he had already helped me so much and build that rapport, and I felt like I owed him so much.
I think that's something worth mentioning with our relationship with God. I don't know how the situation was, in it, because I wasn't in it. But how, now that you look back at it, how do you relate that to not really trusting God? You know what I mean? Because whenever you are afraid of something, fear doesn't really come from God. But you know what I mean? Like, when you look back on it, you were afraid to lose him. You know what I mean? But you weren't
he was
afraid.
that safe haven. He was that anchor. He was that, he gave me stability, and he gave me a new outlook on life to how to establish myself.
So did you think that he was a godsend, and that's why you're afraid to lose
I looked
him?
at it as a godsend, and I'm glad you said that, because he was prophesied to me.
Okay.
I was told that I would meet an older guy that would be my senior in his 30s, and that he was going to be one to help me. The prophecy really didn't talk about negativity in it, anything negative. So when I met him, I really did think that he was a person that I was supposed to meet, and I do believe he was.
And I'm glad you said that too, that the prophecy didn't say anything about the negative. That's one thing that is worth mentioning is journey with God. Is even if you get a prophecy, you still do go back to God about it, because things are sometimes supposed to be for a time in a season.
And that was.
And sometimes we overwater the plant.
Yes, and sometimes we stay in situations that is not good for us, and we
see that's
end
why
up getting abused when we can stop it.
That's why I was asking, like, now that we're talking about it, when you look back at it, because the prophecy said he would help you, and he did. He did his purpose. You see what I mean?
Yep.
And you being afraid to lose him
after he came out and everything. I mean, it was a great benefit, but then it had a lot of negative things.
But he taught you a lot, like you said. He definitely taught you a lot. But moving forward, what kind of advice or something would you tell someone in this moment of where you were at with afraid of losing him and then remembering the prophecy? You know what I mean? Like, those are confusing for people sometimes.
It is.
Sometimes people put all their trust in a prophecy, which is nothing necessarily wrong, but you still, you know what I mean, have to go to God. And then when you're in the moment of the prophecy. So do you want to reflect on that?
And I can say as well about the prophecy that it came at a time when I was still a teenager. I think I might have been 15, 16.
Oh, so you were way younger.
I was
before.
younger when I heard it. So, you know, as the years go by, you kind of forget about it. And it's like, maybe that's never going to happen.
Right.
So I went on with my life. That's how I met my ex-boyfriend before him.
Right.
And it just seemed like things just in my life wasn't coming together. So when I met him, it was almost like a peace with it. But he never really was interested in really being like a boyfriend. He was more like a big brother, like I said before. Even the way he treated me was with kindness. He would, you know, like the walks in the rain with the umbrella, holding hands, hanging out, going to dinner, different things. He made it seem like he was all into me and it was all about me.
Right. That's something great to mention as well is predators. They tend to love bomb. Intimate partners, especially if they have an agenda, they will love bomb you in the beginning.
Yeah, like over love you, over exert their love for you. And I believe that's what he did.
Yeah.
So I don't believe that I was dealing with someone that just was inexperienced even as a predator.
Right.
And so moving forward, after he came home from prison, and that was when he was like, okay, you know, before he came home, he was like, you got to lose this much weight, have this much money in the bank. I mean, he had his criterias. If I didn't meet it, he said he was going to just have someone else in my place. And so...
And then that is an interesting word of choice, too. You know, someone else in your place.
He was going to replace me. He made it seem like I was always in competition with someone else for his love and attention.
And in that moment, how did you react or respond to it?
I wanted to get his approval. I wanted him to approve of me. I wanted him to be pleased with my accomplishments because I felt like he believed in me. He told me that I could lose the weight and I did it. I mean, I listened to what he told me and I did it. And he didn't make it seem like something harsh. Even though now when I look back at it, I mean, it is what it is. That this was something that he tried to, how should I say it? What's the word for it? When someone, like, unbeknown to you, but they try to provoke you. Not provoke is not that word, but I'm just saying, like, he did it in a way to where it was like, okay, either you do it or you're out.
Right. I mean,
and I looked at it as a challenge, and I didn't look at it as a negative challenge because I felt like I could win the challenge.
And it was positive changes that were happening.
It was.
And I see it looks as though your relationship was more of a teacher-student.
It was.
And honestly,
it seemed like that.
That would make sense as to why you wanted his approval so bad, because when you have kids, you're the teacher, your child is the student, and kids seek their parents' approval. Just like when a kid goes to school, is a teacher and they're the student, they're going to seek that teacher's approval for the grade or for whatever. So that definitely makes sense as to why you wanted his approval.
Right. And so when the first abuse happened, it happened when he came home and we were being intimate, and then we were wrestling. We were wrestling naked. And all of a sudden, it was like I was getting the best of him, and he just pulled out his belt, his leather belt, and he just started whipping me like a child, whipping me with no remorse. And it was like I was shielding and protecting my naked body with my hands. But even with that, it felt like my hands were broken because he was whipping me so much. It was like a continuous, like it was going to never stop. And so after he did that, he never apologized. He just told me that I would never be able to be stronger than him or outdo him.
So it was the ego.
It was, that was his way of trying to control me. And that was the very first time, other than him saying those other things about me having to get myself together in order to please him, or he was going to replace me. That was the extreme of it, was with the whipping. That was the first time. And I remembered in the back of my mind, older lady customers telling me that if a man ever laid their hands on you, he's not going to stop. It's going to happen again. And that was in the back of my mind, even though it took him a while before the next thing happened.
Mm-hmm.
It took him a while, but the cheating started.
Right after that?
Well, not long after it.
So right after
He was
that,
drinking openly, smoking openly, hanging out with friends that were, doing drugs and just laying around like he didn't want to work.
right after that, what happened? Like, you said he said those words. But the relationship, was it, I mean, it couldn't have been the same right after that.
I know I was on my P's and Q's with him. But he had a way of, like you said before, overbearing you with love.
So the love, you kind of like glossed it over. Kind of like how if a child's getting abused by their parent, they'll...
Well, I wouldn't say as a parent, but because we were intimate with one another, it was more like him saying, okay, that already happened, let's move on. And then he acted in that way. He didn't show forth anger or like violence towards me.
But what about you?
It took a while. Yeah, I didn't trust him. I always, in the back of my mind, knew it was a possibility of it happening again.
And you said that he had, plans. Did those, having that type of mindset of having a plan A, plan B, did it come to you after that?
Not for myself, no, because I guess I was in shock. It's like, wow, that really did happen. It was like, wow, it happened, but did it happen?
And
yes,
then nobody's
ever
done it to you before. So.
Nobody ever did it to me before, no.
Yes, of course.
So I was kind of in shock, but then I went along with it because I knew another side of him. And I knew him to be a good person before all of this happened.
Right. So once, that began, you had a baby. So
that was years later, a couple years later.
So leading up to that, tell me about the family plans, because you wanted to have a child.
Well, what happened was after the beating, he had said maybe a couple weeks after that he was going to get a place for me, purchase a home for me. And he was like, oh, you're going to be one of those young ladies who got a home, a man, and vehicles, and you're going to be doing so much better than them. And so that's the mindset he had. And so it wasn't even 6 months. He told me 6 months time he was going to make it happen. He got a job. He started working and, helping to pay bills and whatnot. And one day he comes and said, okay, we're going to pick out a place. It was way before the 6 months. I was like shocked and surprised. And so that was another thing, seeing our life progress, and he wasn't being so, he wasn't acting in a violent way towards me. It made me look at him sideways, but it made me, okay, we're making progress. Maybe, maybe things are okay now.
Right.
But I still didn't trust completely.
Because you know the potential.
Yeah, because I knew what other women were telling me. And I felt like somehow, some way, if I did what I was supposed to do, he wouldn't lay his hands on me again.
Right.
That is also something that women need to be careful of, because you can think yourself to be so special. Just because you weren't the last person he abused or she abused, you could still be his victim or her victim. Not just because it's you and you're special.
Right.
But because that person has an issue. They have a problem.
Right. So, you can continue to when y'all decided to have, kids.
Okay. So what happened was after we got into the home, he actually started bringing other females into our home. Once those things, because it was a back and forth thing, and then maybe 2 years after that, we had discussed it that because I wanted to, since I had lost a whole lot of weight, I didn't want to just jump into having children. So I told him that I wanted to
enjoy your new body.
Wait until I was about 23 to start having babies, and he was okay with that.
Okay.
But it was a whole lot of other stuff that went on. For example, I remember now that when he first got out of incarceration, he had asked me to purchase a gallon of Hennessy and a gallon of gin, because he was like, it was time for him to celebrate. He was like letting loose, and he'd been incarcerated for a whole year, so he wanted to just chill out and asked me to go buy those things. He never asked me to do that before. So in my mind, I was like, okay, well, maybe he just needed to chill out. I wasn't trying to judge him with it. But after he came home, and while I was at work one day, this was not long after he got out, he actually came and picked me up from work, which was right around the corner, and said, hey, you know, I got the car cleaned out and I got the clothes in there. We was going to wash clothes. And he was like, okay, we just going to chill out together. And then we started driving. He was a driver anyway. And one thing led to another that caused us to be in an accident that caused my car that I just paid for to split in half. It was an ongoing hit where his driver's side and the driver from the other car actually hit. And I thought we had would have died in that situation. I got knocked out.
Head crash.
Yeah, it was almost like a head-on collision. It was the doors that hit, but the rest of my car got split in half.
From the collision.
And so if someone was in the back seat, they probably would have died.
You know how fast y'all were going?
No, but it was fast enough to where when I heard that loud pop, I got passed out. You know, I got knocked out. So
wow.
It was amazing because at that time I was on the side of the car. I remember when I woke up and got out, I was on the side of the car praying for him to be okay. I truly believe that at that time, maybe that was like a rude awakening for me to see what type of person he was. But I still wasn't convinced that he was a bad person.
Right. Yeah, and I know that can be very, traumatizing. And this story has so many more details. So with that being said, I definitely believe we need a part 2 to the situation, to the story. I know you also have a book out. Would you like to tell the people?
Yes, In the Life of Nzuri by the author Nzuri, about my life story.
Yes. The book is definitely a quick read. It wouldn't take that long if you're not big on words, but it definitely tells an amazing story, and it gives, certain details that a lot of people didn't know at the time. It's
right.
Your part of the story.
Right.
So, but yes, it was definitely great to talk to you, Miss Monica. I hope to, hear from you again. We want to change the narrative from hurt people to hurt people heal and help hurt people. We want to thank you for tuning in to Open Your Mouth and Speak. Please tune in every Wednesday from 1 p.m. to 1:30 p.m. Check out our hashtags, and we thank you for tuning in. God bless you.
God bless you.
This song is dedicated to people like us. Those that struggle with insecurities, acceptance, and even self-esteem. You never felt good enough. You never felt pretty enough. But imagine God whispering in your ear, letting you know that everything that has happened now is gone. Gone, gone, it's gone. Oh.